Am I the jerk for telling my friend she's not entitled to a king bed at our Airbnb? So, bit of context. Me and my 3 friends have booked a boys' trip down the beach because a few of our other friends will be down there. Well, one of our friends invited his girlfriend, let's call her Jay, without telling any of us till 3 days before the trip. She hangs with us a lot and we're all sweet with her coming. However, the issue is we booked a house with 3 beds, a king and 2 singles. Me and Jay are quite close. Jay is texting me at the moment saying her and her partner will take the king and they'll bring a blow mattress for the person who doesn't get a single. This is where my question comes in. I told her that we would all put our names in a hat and whoever gets picked first gets first pick off beds and so on until last person takes the blow up. She has gotten very angry at me saying because she's a woman and in couples she deserves the king bed with her partner. I understand this point, but she wasn't originally invited to this trip and no one wants to sleep on a blow-up mattress. So am I the jerk for telling her she can't claim the king bed? Update: thanks everyone for the comments and appreciate all the advice. Things took a dramatic turn and my friend and Jay got into a massive fight about this and they now have broken up. Am I the jerk for telling a stranger that I am not her therapist and to stop interrupting my checkout at the store? I was at a bookstore last night after work. When I got to the register, it was empty. A moment later, an employee came back around with another customer. The other customer got in line behind me, while still chatting with the employee. I could tell the employee was a little uncomfortable as she called me forward. The other customer stood literally right behind me as the employee kept doing the brush off of "Yeah, really? Wow." The other customer was talking about how she had recently been diagnosed with cancer, going into details about the treatments she'd need, etc. Finally, she was quiet when it was clear the employee was focused on my transaction and trying to ask me the whole "do you have a rewards card, do you want one, etc." spiel. That's when the other customer turned to me and started giving the same story. I said I was sorry to hear about her diagnosis and went back to speaking to the employee. The customer still kept talking, right in my ear, saying, "Yeah, I'm so pissed, why'd this have to happen to me?" Finally, I told her you need to back up and give me some space. Stop interrupting our conversation. She started saying, "I have cancer, I need to vent." I said again, "Sorry to hear that, but we are not your therapists, back up." She backed up and went silent. Employee looked relieved. I told my wife what happened and she told me I was rude. The woman was clearly going through something. I said as a former retail worker, I despise people who unloaded their days on me and she was clearly making the employee uncomfortable while also standing right next to me. Wife said I was still wrong. Am I the jerk for refusing to let my parents rename me? My 15M parents gave my sister 16F, brother 13M, and me nature names and more specifically water nature names. My sister is Ocean, I'm Cove, and my brother is River. They wanted our names to have a theme without being matchy with the same initial, so we got our names. The story was told to us when we were little and my parents were proud of the names they gave us. Back when we were all stuck at home, my parents started to express regret about their choices for us. They actually told us over dinner one night that they wished they had given us better names and apologized for making us live with the names we were given. A few months after that apology, my mom and dad told us they wanted us to be Elizabeth, sister, James, me, and Michael, brother. They said since we were kids and weren't in college yet and nobody had their license at that point, it would be the best time to do it. All 3 of us said we didn't want to change our first names. My dad looked into whether they could do it. When we said no and all answers, he got pointed to a very strong no. But it was also unusual to change your older kid's first name, so they went ahead and tried anyway, but once we were asked if we wanted different names, they were told no. My parents brought it up a lot to us afterward. My brother asked why they wanted to name him Michael and said the name was crappy. They told him Michael was a timeless name that would age well and gave him some nickname choices. He said he hated it. So they asked if he would consider Charles instead, which he said was an even bigger no. Our parents focused really hard on him for a while because he had asked the question about the name, so they figured he was the most open. So far none of us have agreed to the name change. I told my parents that I know they regret the names, but we're all used to and like our names and don't want to go for more boring and common names. My parents argued that in the future we will regret it and we'd have to pay for it ourselves when we're adults, and we realize having weird names does not age well. I asked why they can't let us get there if we ever do. They said we should be thinking more of our futures, and they accused me of having a really bad attitude because I said James was as bad to me as Cove is to them now. They told me to look online, and I did, and I saw a lot of hate for our names. But I told them it still didn't change my mind. My parents said we should respect them enough as parents to allow this, and that we're all being disrespectful. Am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for only inviting my skinny friends to do a horseback riding event? Throwaway and on phone. I need more opinions on this. I have always wanted to go horseback riding, and I found a ranch that offers a package where you go every Saturday for 5 weeks to learn. It will start you at the very basics, and the last Saturday you go on a day trip. I wanted to do this since I heard good things about it, and it seems really fun. I was looking at the program, and the website made it very clear that you have to weigh less than 225 pounds in order to join. It had a very long paragraph about the horse safety and that a horse can only carry so much that isn't equipment. I have a friend group of 7 people. 3 of those people are overweight. They are very open about their weight, and I know they are all over 225. I knew the program wouldn't allow it. So I asked my other 5 friends, and they were interested. 4 of them decided to join. I was asked today by one of the friend why she wasn't invited. I told her she didn't qualify for the program. She asked what I meant, and I told her the program wouldn't allow her on one of their horses. She kept pushing, so I told her the horse apparently can't handle her weight. She got very upset and called me a dick. The 2 other friends are on my ass and are pissed I basically called them fat. I sent them the program and the info, but that didn't help. Am I the jerk for not sharing a free meal with my anti-Instagram boyfriend? I post my food pics from when I go out to eat on Instagram. It's just for fun. I spend like 30 minutes a week on it, tops. My boyfriend is a very sweet guy in many ways, but one thing that I'm not so much a fan of is that he often hops on the bandwagon of hating on innocent things. Not just not liking something, but making sure everyone knows he doesn't like it even if nobody asked. I can't help but notice a theme: pumpkin spice lattes, pouty selfies, Taylor Swift, etc. As you can guess, he is not a fan of the food pics and thinks it's very annoying and cringe. He doesn't even follow my Insta, even though he has an account. Even though I don't have very many followers, I have started getting occasional offers and invitations from restaurants in my city to try their food for free in exchange for a review. Nothing crazy, no steak dinners so far, but I've gotten a few sandwiches and several baked goods. Well, I just hit the big leagues and got invited to a new restaurant opening that includes a free appetizer and entree for me and one guest. I immediately invited one of my Instagram friends who I have gone out to eat with on several occasions and who also enjoys taking food photos. I told my boyfriend, and he's pissed that I'm not taking him and says I'm doing it out of spite. I really think I'm not. If the restaurant is giving me free food in exchange for a post, I'm gonna put more effort into the post and spend a few extra minutes making sure that I actually get very good shots. And I'd rather do it with someone who isn't going to sigh and roll their eyes through the whole thing. Also, I think it's pretty audacious of him to be actively unsupportive of an activity that hurts no one, but then also expects to benefit when it's actually successful. Am I the jerk for screaming at my boyfriend? So I met my boyfriend after work last night, and he agreed to dropping me off at work the next morning. I travel for work and so does he. I usually take the subway to get to work, and it takes me 2 hours to reach, and hence I leave 2 hours early. He works in the same area, but he's self-employed, so there's no time restriction. Moreover, he can drive, so it takes him almost an hour to get there. I woke him up this morning at 8:30 because he'd asked me to do so the last night. I called him, he didn't pick up, then called his mom, she didn't pick up either, then called his sister who woke him up. Then he called me back, I talked to him and he said we'll leave in 45 minutes. I called him 45 minutes later after getting ready, he didn't pick up. Called his mom, she woke him up again. I was starting to panic by then because there have been times when he overslept and I had to manage everything by myself. It was already half an hour past the time I leave and I didn't want to be late to work. I called him again after some time and he didn't pick up. 3 calls, no answer. I got furious and left my place for the subway. He called me midway and I screamed at him in frustration, and now he's mad at me for screaming at him. Am I the jerk here?